Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. Hello to Movie Watch Live. And tonight we're watching the film that really set the tone for all of the other 1980s action movies that came after it. We're going to be watching Rambo First Blood, and that stars Sylvester Stallone. It's from 1982, directed by Ted Kotcheff, co-written by Stallone as well, who stars as a Vietnam War vet, John Rambo. Also stars Richard Crenna and Brian Dennehy, and obviously we also a quick tribute to Brian Dennehy because he passed away recently this month. The film follows Rambo, who in the book is a very different character from the movie, but in the movie he's somewhat of a doctor, and he's wandering the States 7 years after he was discharged from the Vietnam War, and we catch up with his story at that point. And so joining me tonight, as usual, is Ralph, and also we have Elrod back. So welcome to Elrod back there. So I'll say hello to both my guests. Good evening, Ralph. How are you doing?
People, hey, good to hear from you.
Right.
In honor of Brian's passing, I am wearing his hairpiece this evening. This is authentic from the movie. Practically invisible, isn't it? You can't tell.
It's seamless, and that is an actual official movie prop as well. Brian Dennehy's the Teasel Weasel, I think they called it. And it's Brian Dennehy's hairpiece from the movie. Priceless. Be careful with that, please, Ralph.
I will.
And also join us tonight is Elrodimus Flash. Good evening, Elrod.
Not a baby killer.
Bits of them all over me.
They drew first blood. I'm telling you, they did it first.
Oh, do you know, this is a little bit cruel because did you know that Sylvester Stallone actually has a slight facial paralysis?
I do indeed. And
He's delivered with forceps? Is that the story?
It was a difficult birth and it left him with partial facial paralysis.
Yeah.
Which is why, he has that unique way of speaking and facial mannerisms. But I think Humphrey Bogart, not Dirk, Humphrey Bogart had a similar problem which affected speech in his face, didn't he? Because he had a cleft lip which wasn't done properly. So he wasn't the only actor who had that similar problems like that. So, gentlemen, have either of you seen this movie before?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I have as well. It's been a while, but
it's part of living in America. You have to watch it.
Exactly. And of course, after this one, it kicked into the giant, Reagan era patriotic movement and became a giant flag waving thing. But this is more of a darker look back.
It is
trouble.
Yeah. I mean, people look back as quite a dark, brooding movie. It's quite a short movie. It's only 93 minutes, and I think that ultimately led to it becoming the model for all of the other action movies that came after it. Even things like Commando with Annie, who was trying to get his daughter back, who was a Vietnam vet. And that leads on to a big thing about how Vietnam vets were portrayed, because at the start of the 80s, they were all portrayed as psychos, and at the end of the 80s, they were all heroes. It was a complete flip-flop through that decade.
Here in the United States, there was quite a shift in the feelings about the Vietnam War and the veterans themselves. Coming back from the Vietnam War, a lot of the vets were treated poorly by the public at large. They were either ignored or they were in some cases assaulted, but generally they were looked upon poorly. And through the 80s, there was a shift, as you pointed out, to where America started remembering, hey, these guys went and did what we asked them as a country to do. So, this is right around the time that some of those questions started coming up, and some of those conversations started being had.
The homeless thing happened at that time too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
There was the homeless boom of Vietnam vets who were all thrown out of the mental hospitals. That when Carter left office, that was like his last thing was like, I'm closing down all the hospitals.
Yeah.
And of course, they had nowhere to go because most of them had aged out of the system by then, so they were all homeless.
Exactly.
And almost, and I think, what was it, like a large percentage were Vietnam vets who had PTSD.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know from, friends of mine from my youth, that of course they were older than me. So, but, friends of my parents that became friends of mine, they were several of them were Vietnam veterans, and talking about the war, they didn't do it very much unless they had a few glasses in them first.
Oh, well, wake up. Well, we're gonna welcome to the chat, Cosmetti and Sadie.
Hello, ladies.
They've turned up to the show. So yeah, I mean, it was a sort of sign of the times. It's a very, very interesting sort of benchmark for how America changed in the 1980s. How following the sort of social opinion towards Vietnam veterans. But going back to Brian Dennehy, who stars as Teasel, the sort of bully police chief of the town. Other movies he was in Cocoon, played Walter in Cocoon. I think we all remember that. Silverado is where I remember him from as well. He played Cobb in Silverado, and also a lot of roles in the 80s. It sort of dipped out a bit for a while, but he's had regular work. I think they're the ones I mainly remember him for. He was in FX, which I didn't really like, but I sat through both of them. Where else was he? Was in Birdland, a TV series, which is quite good. But I think most of his most important work was in the 80s, and this movie really got him recognition more than anything else.
I remember specifically from my youth always getting him confused with David Gilmour for some reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors who are always mistaken for each other. I used to mistake who was it? Well, let's not go into that. That's a total different subject. But we could make a whole program out of that. So yeah, I mean, he's done loads of movies. If we check out his filmography, he's done tons. But this movie in 1982 really sort of put him on the scene. He was in other stuff beforehand, but this is the thing that got him recognized really, other than anything else. So so as usual, what we're going to do is I'm watching the movie on Amazon. I think Ralph and Elrod have it on a different format, but we're going to do a countdown as usual, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll say go. And when I say go, you can start the movie rolling. So like I said, the format I've got is Amazon, and the introduction sequence for mine is about 20 seconds, and it goes into the movie. So if you want to sort of synchronize any other way, I'm just going to let everybody know when we get the opening credits coming up, so you can, by any other means, you'll know how to synchronize when you see that come up on the screen. So as we always do, it's the commentary. We'll be talking about the movie, any experiences we have, any observations, some trivia, and just a fun night. So that's really what we're all about. So without further ado, I'll start the countdown, and we're ready with 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I'm watching this on Amazon, so I'm just getting the opening sequence of titles from Studio Canal, but I'll let everybody know when I see the actual movie credits. So here we go. So the opening credits is just about to come up, and we hear so there are Mario Casa and Andrew Vajja present, unfortunate name, Ted Kochev film, and the soundtrack for this was it was Goldsmith, wasn't it? Not Goldsmith, Jerry Goldsmith.
I'm not sure.
Hang on, I'll just check.
That sounds right.
Yeah, Jerry Goldsmith. The theme, "It's a Long Road," is what you're hearing right now. And that was the main theme of the movie. The soundtrack as well was one of the things that really helped sell the character to the audience, because it was, it was about taking the book that was written about this by Morrell and making a hero that actually worked. Dave Morrell wrote the book in 1972, and it was about people returning from the Vietnam War and what they were like and did they fit into society. And it was all changed to make the character a hero, a drifter. They've got the drifter option. So here he is. This is 7 years after his discharge. He's a wanderer, and he visits an old comrade to see if he's still alive. And you see he's full of hope at this point, gentlemen.
Yeah. And that opening shot, pretty upbeat, happy
nice,
family. Yeah.
I'm gonna upset everybody. This was filmed in Canada.
No.
British Columbia.
No, it's not.
It's Washington State, god damn it. So here he is visiting the wife and children in the family home. It's very homesteady. It's very Searchers, and this is where they find out about Delmar Barry. Or he finds out, sorry. Welcome, Tony Nasser, who's joined us in the chat. G'day, mate. And for Americans, that means hello.
Or howdy.
Or howdy, partner.
See, now this reminds me of me growing up. A nice lower class house.
Mm-hmm.
On a beautiful lake.
Yeah.
It was filmed in British Columbia in the winter. We'll talk about the town in a minute. It was actually shot in a town called Hope, but the scene is Capilano Canyon. They also used, but this is Golden Ears Provincial Park, I think. Oh, sorry, Pitt Lake. This is Pitt Lake in Pitt Meadows.
So this is the movie that started it all for British Columbia, then, right?
Well, I remember watching
the 90s. Everything was filmed there.
Oh,
I remember watching Roxanne. I love Roxanne, the movie with Steve Martin, and that.
Oh yeah,
I thought that's the most beautiful place I've ever seen. When I saw that movie, and I thought, where is that? And I found out it was British Columbia, and but Washington State's almost exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't tell them apart.
Yeah, I've been to British Columbia before. It's a very, very beautiful area. I just couldn't quite get the used to the money. It doesn't quite look right.
Yeah. So here we see the dejected. You see how it was the last shred of hope he had, and now we see the drifter. Because he's just found out that the comrade he had died from cancer because of Agent Orange. Agent Orange, Adrian. That's a different movie franchise.
Everybody forgets about Fanta Grape.
Here we are. Now this movie flows at a really fast pace because it was cut down from 3.5 hours to 1.5 hours. So we're literally within, this is the 5-minute opening introduction we've had. Literally within 1 minute, he gets picked up, and then within 15 minutes, everything breaks loose. So we're going to have to be quick with what we say.
I've never seen a small town sheriff actually wear a cowboy hat like they do in every movie and TV show.
Yeah. And this is the town of Hope. Okay. Now it really is the town of Hope. And it's in British Columbia. Obviously based upon the town of Hope in Washington.
Yeah.
As well, during the filming of this movie, a truck that was used to store 50 or so firearms, which was imported into Canada from the US of A, they were all stolen by the Canadians. So that's one way to get your firearms. So he's picked him up straight away.
Yeah.
Asking for trouble. So he sees him as a vagrant, a potential troublemaker. And this is in the context of, the public just didn't know how to take these people. Jump in, I'll take it. And he, as we say, he takes him completely out of town. What I should quickly say is something that isn't put in the movie, which was in the book, is that the subtext is that Teasel is actually a Korean War veteran, a highly decorated war hero from Korea. Sorry, the Korean War, not from Korea. That would be a completely different story. And he resents John Rambo's character because of all of the attention the Vietnam vets have got, and because it was a failed war, this, that, and the other. So there's a huge rift between them already for that reason.
See, I didn't know that background info. Now,
yeah, it just dropped from the film for some reason. I don't know why.
Now, I will say, well, probably for the time, but you mentioned the flag on his jacket, and Teasel as a character mentioned the flag. And back in the early '80s, that was late '70s and early '80s in the U.S. That was a sticking point with a lot of Americans. They saw it as disrespectful. But
well, that was like the hippies did that, would put the flag on their stuff. So
yes.
He wouldn't really be seen as a vet. He'd probably be seen more as a protester to the normal person.
Yeah.
Portland straight ahead. Yeah, and he tells him to get a haircut and take a bath. So yeah, he would have been seen as a troublemaker, a vagrant.
No Italians in Hope.
He's like a non-conformist, isn't he? He's just not abiding by society's rules. And that's particularly poignant with all of this, what's going on right now, isn't it? Because he just says, no, screw this. I'm not going to be, why should I be told to go out of the town? I have a right. So this is it, straightens his collar and walks back. This is where the shit hits the fan. So we're at the point, like I say, where he's walking back across the bridge. And Teasel's just about to arrest him.
It works better with him not being a Korean vet, because then that would be strange, because then he would have more sympathy.
Yeah.
Since that was another failed war.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think in the book, I think it's more about the difference in generations, and something to play up in the book is the difference in tactics as well. So John Rambo's tactics are completely different to what Teasel learned for the Korean War.
Well, I mean, Korea, they were funny. I've seen MASH.
Yeah,
they all had the jokes.
Oh yeah,
they had the jokes, and then immediately after they had the pathos.
Yeah,
it was like a flip switch.
It was
oh my God, he's going to die. Hey, let's take the wristwatch. Oh my God, this is horrible. Does anybody know the knife is famous? the knife was actually custom designed. It's like a trademark for Rambo. It was actually custom designed by an Arkansas. Sorry, I almost said Arkansas. Displaying my English ignorance there.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's spelt that way though.
Yes, yes, it is.
Knife maker Jimmy Lyle, and it's a hollow handled. It's got stuff inside it and everything. So there you go. It's not in the book, but Stallone asked for it as a prop.
Yeah. It can still be found at any flea market, or as you call them, boot sales you may go to.
Yeah, there was loads of repros made, weren't there?
Oh, yeah.
Rambo knife.
Oh, yeah.
$49.99 Rambo knife.
Many a child.
Everybody had one.
Because of cheap knives.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. It's time.
There we go.
Caruso time.
Let's see.
So, I mean, very nice. What are you drinking then, Ralph?
I've just switched over to my Shield Egg single malt.
Oh,
definitely prefer single malt over blended.
Yes, you're all in now. So
yeah, I'm all in.
This is serious now.
Yeah. Fortunately, I've still got scotch left. Otherwise, I would have had to broken out the wild turkey, and there's no telling what happens then.
Yeah. So this is
first flashes of PTSD.
Yeah, first flashback. Yeah. And this is what sets him off, isn't it? It's the way, like, Galt is like the worst of them. He's an absolute swine.
Caruso.
So this is what sets him off. He has PTSD, and he has an episode, and he just goes off it. But so the pull his dog tags off
all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because it's a double-edged sword, because this movie is really what opened people's eyes to PTSD, because, I mean, you know, it's had many different names. Now it's PTSD. It was shell shock for, I think even then it was still called shell shock.
Yeah.
And, you know, it had varied reputation, but it was mainly like, oh, you know, that guy doesn't talk much anymore. You know, he lives in a bottle. He self-medicates. But this movie kind of gave it the double-edged sword of like, they're all crazy, or hey, we should show some sympathy and maybe not call it shell shock anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually helped as much as it probably hurt too, but because it put it in the public eye. Like, I had a great uncle who was in World War II, and he, you know, self-medicated up until he died with the alcohol.
Yeah.
Was he in Europe or the Pacific?
He was in Europe, so he was kind of lucky, because Pacific apparently was the worst. But he was in Italy, and he was his regimen was basically the ones that went in and did all the dirty work. And it was basically like, oh, you were drafted and we're putting you in this division because this is where we put the expendable people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we see the how much your family makes a year, so we're putting you here.
Mm-hmm.
So they were meant to be fodder. But I mean, they liberated pretty much most of Europe.
Yeah.
Because they were the guys who knew how to fight.
Yeah.
And they had lived through the Depression, and so like, killing was nothing for them because they lived with death for so long through starvation, things like that, and sickness.
Mm-hmm.
So they were great fighters, but he did some terrible things by necessity, and never lived it down.
This is it, and it's those memories. Like you said, it was originally called shell shock. It's always been there, but never really talked about until I think it was like the 1980s. Where, well, hang on, ladies, we've got a naked Stallone scene here.
That was his rewrite. I got to be naked here.
I'm gonna show my butt.
You know that's the scene I should have used for my avatar.
Butt bow, ram butt.
Hit me with the hose.
So they've been torturing him here, really, with the hose, because they're not really cleaning him; they're sort of torturing him. And now the it's a wet shave, really, but
this is a trigger, right?
Yeah, this is a trigger because they're grabbing him from behind, and we're going straight into flashbacks. Yeah. And now he remembers, and you see the first really violent thing happening to him.
Chris
and we're only 15 minutes into the movie. Well, sorry, even less than that, yeah. And already it's just about to kick off because the pace of this movie is so fast, and it sort of set the tone for 1980s action movies. People expect
like a low budget action movie from the 70s or 80s. Like it's one of the last.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's all about efficiency and like just jump in.
Yeah.
And they understood story that you can set it up with a line of dialogue or like this, a simple flashback. You get all the information you need.
This is it. And the fight scene here, really well choreographed as well. We've seen loads of action movies over the years, but for the time, this was, for American audiences, maybe not so used to this. Because there were more. This is like. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, and it's good because it's not five guys standing around him all waiting to take their turn.
Yeah. You know that the guy who comes to try and stop him right at the end when he just almost out of the police station, did actually get his nose broke. Alf Humphreys, who plays Lester, right?
No, okay.
He's just about to get his nose. He elbows him in the face, and he actually did break there. Watch this. Bang! He does actually break his nose. He broke his nose. So when he's wearing like the Band-Aid or whatever, he's actually had a broken nose. The music here as well for the escape scene, excellent. This is a dirt bike. So anybody who likes dirt bikes, this is for you. This whole scene.
This scene is America.
Oh yeah,
America. Renegade justice.
Yeah. Now I've got to side with the sheriff on that one. It's like taking a hunting rifle and shooting down the street. Man, not the smartest thing to do.
I remember seeing this movie for the first time. I'd actually seen Rambo 2 before I saw this. When I saw this for the first time, because I didn't think much of the Rambo movies initially, because I'd seen the third and the second one. And then someone said, well, yeah, I said, why don't you see First Blood? And then I thought, okay, I'll give it a chance. And I was amazed. And the music is one of the most amazing things about it. And with it being set in a very closed space, it's like what I would call like a diorama piece. It's very evocative, you can imagine yourself being there and in this landscape, it's
the landscape looks real.
Yeah.
Like it's gritty. It's Northwest, so it always is cloudy, but it looks, it's got mud, it's got cold. Yeah. You can feel the cold.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Have like, this is clearly Northern California in a sunny day in a desert hillside. It's like, no, this is like real wilderness,
Yeah, well, like when Rambo came out of the jail, and you could see his breath. You could immediately tell how cold it was.
Yeah,
I gotta love those early 80s cars that just oversteered like mad. So they were great for sliding into the scenes and stuff. But we do have a bit of the indestructible police car going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, something's just about to happen to that car.
Is that an LTV?
Well,
or limited to 20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like if you're into dirt bikes, you're already like fully invested in this movie at this point.
Oh yeah.
I grew up with those people that watch the movie just for the bike and the cars and stuff. So.
Yeah. It does feel very 1970s Saturday afternoon TV show, doesn't it? So
yes. Oh yeah. Oh,
you can just imagine like a wow.
Oh,
That
yeah,
scene there where it goes over upside down.
The first movie.
I like the cut cheeses.
They should get a mushroom cloud.
The stuntman who was in the car was driving the guy called Benny E. Dobbins. He suffered a broken back, a compressor lumbar fracture. When I think it was when it went over on the jump, and when it went over,
break your back.
Yeah, and it rolled over as well. So basically, when he got out, he tried to get out the car. He couldn't move. So I hope Dobbins is all right. Justice for Dobbins.
Yeah. Ronnie Dobbins.
Yeah. So this is the scene where like Rambo's now out in the wild. He's showing how he did film in reality the entire movie with just a tank top, but he's going around finding his survival stuff, bit of wire, and the cloth that he finds. You know, he has that coat he makes out of rotten cloth. It's like rotten canvas.
Yeah.
And this is verifiable. It's they actually found that large bit of rotten canvas on the movie set. It wasn't a prop. It was just lying there. So they basically used it, and he makes a coat out of it, and it became a treasured prop on the set because there was only one prop. You know how you always have like multiple versions of a prop in case it gets damaged. And when the film ended, he actually took it, and it's one of his prized possessions to this day.
Oh, I don't blame him. I mean, this one, well, I can't say that Rocky put him on the map, but this one was another one that propelled him on.
And I have to take exception to you referring to tank top. I prefer the term wife beater.
So I'm at 23 minutes. It'll be slightly different for people who haven't had the interest. There's the quote.
There you go. Yeah.
It's all the rage in Washington State.
So you punch you and cinch it.
It's a member puncho. I'm starting to sound more like Trump now, actually.
And it's a smart thing to do. I mean, it's like it keeps you warm and it hides the pads and things you need for doing stuff.
Yes.
That's true. Exactly. Yeah. It's not made in China.
I was watching an old Tarzan movie the other day with Herman Brix or Bruce Bennett.
Right. Yeah.
He was the only actor who was actually chosen by Edgar Rice Burroughs to play the part.
Right.
And you feel so bad for him in the stunts because one, they're filming in like Honduras, I think, or Guatemala.
Yeah.
So everybody there is like 5'2".
Yeah.
He was 6'3" and an Olympic athlete. So nobody looks like him. And he has to do all of his own stunts wearing like the loincloth thing. And you're like, man, like actors now have it so easy.
They do.
You're like,
people might
have to jump into a river and you're like, they could have killed their actor.
Yeah. It's all CGI though as well.
Animals, like all kinds of stuff. And you're like,
well, it's all real here, don't you? It's all real stunts.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell the guy on the bike wasn't Rambo. His wig didn't look anything like his hair. You might recognize the dog handler with the Dobermans. John McLean is the actor. He was enlisted to be the dog handler. And he's a bit typecast because he played Boss in Cool Hand Luke, whose job was exactly the same.
Oh.
Exactly the same role. dog
Greatest
handler.
movie of all time.
Yeah. Because Matty says, after seeing what he did in the jail, why would they follow him into the woods? A good point.
Yeah.
And Fallen Destiny says the same thing. I was wondering the same thing. Yeah, they would basically just go, well, that didn't go too well. None of this ever happened.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sitting here thinking, he's gone straight up the side of a mountain. And, I realize some of the police are more fit than others, but I'm trying to imagine me lugging myself up the side of that mountain, chasing a very determined person. It's like, nah, I'd wait for the state
guy. There comes a time when you're like, guys, like, he is out of our jurisdiction, apparently, so we might as well.
Exactly.
He is just a crazy homeless dude. Let him be someone else's problem.
That's a federal matter now. Let's just leave it.
Yeah. Let the next town deal with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let him go to Tacoma. They have a spot for them.
Speaking of the Stadies, in comes the helicopter.
Yeah, and this is Galt again. And this is, for all it was actually made a certificate 18 in Britain, they later changed it to certificate 15 because, unlike the book had like 16 people. Just Rambo went on a rampage and just killed everybody in the book. In the movie, only one person. He doesn't kill anybody, and only one person dies, and it's not my fault. So this scene with the helicopter is brilliant, and this is the first time they did this kind of stuff in movies. Like, this kind of crazy. He's practicing for Cliffhanger here as well, by the way.
Yes, there you go. Another Stallone classic.
Did you know this was the first non-Rambo movie Stallone did that didn't bomb at the cinemas? At the cinema.
Really?
Yeah. It's the first.
Was that before or after Tango and Cash?
Oh, or my.
I think this is before. This is before Tango and Cash. Isn't
Oh,
it?
you mean this? I thought you meant Cliffhanger.
Yeah. No. This movie was the first one that didn't bomb.
Because he did a string of like pretty much unknown movies now.
Well, now wait a minute. What about Rocky? Rocky was in what, 77?
Well, the Rocky movie. Yeah. Well, the first non-Rocky movie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, non-Rocky. That makes it.
Yeah.
Like he did that. There's a gangster movie where he's like, they're boxing in streets but it wasn't Rocky, so people didn't want it.
There's all sorts of weird movies he did when he started out.
Mm-hmm.
He was in another movie called Escape to Victory, where he was part of a football team from a prisoner of war.
I've seen that one.
I like that movie.
Yeah,
so he's just jumped off the side of the cliff, and he's perfectly fine. Didn't get impaled on any of those pines at all.
No, he cut his arm.
Yeah, he cuts his arm.
Like every good action hero, his arm cuts.
And that's the action hero Og. That Arnie used to do as well.
All right, now I have to press X to doubt a little bit on the use of deadly force to catch somebody who was initially brought in for
vagrancy.
Vagrancy and quote unquote resisting arrest.
Was brought in for over the top. Contravening lockdown regulations. I'm charging with contravening lockdown. I'm charging with taking your kids to the play park.
Well, in their defense, I guess it was first degree vagrancy.
Yeah. Rambo, you're in violation of lockdown regulations.
I mean, at this point, when you have Deputy Happy Sniper, there's no turning back.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah. And you're caught in a helicopter, and that's expensive. So you've got to do something.
So he uses a rock to hit the helicopter, which means a rock does the trick. I hit you with a rock. Because Matty says the wilderness is gorgeous. She also, and Sailor says it really is. And she also says, I didn't know small town cops had helicopters. Well, there you go. They've been saving up.
See, now you know.
Well, they knew a guy who probably owned one, right? There's probably a line of dialogue where, like, hey, Clem has that helicopter farm.
Yeah. Catalina wine mixer. So there's Galt's dead body. And, as a good soldier, he's taking what he needs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's pretty obvious that there's only one way he's getting out of this one. Yeah. Meanwhile, the helicopter pilot's like, I am out of here.
I'm out of here. Sidney Wells says he was yes, he was clinging to the mountain. Yeah, I don't think anybody wanted to be the sniper there. So this is where he sews. You see, this is the knife. It has stuff in it like wire and thread and all the rest of it, needles.
Knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In the
So
U.S.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say in the U.S. they were called survival knives, and they would have a small sewing kit or a fishing kit in them, some matches, compass, and yeah, in my middle school years, which would be grades 6 through 8, they were all the rage. Everybody wore it.
So that makes sense now, because I read that this movie single-handedly rebirthed the cutlery industry in America. The Jimmy Lyle and Gil Hibben knives. So there you go.
In each movie, his knife gets fancier too. Like, as the budget rises, the knife budget goes up.
The knife budget. I didn't do anything.
Although I have to say, the scene where he's sewing his arm is so realistic.
Is it normal to just open fire on an unarmed man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We do it all the time around here.
Yeah.
I mean,
his skin is a little dark.
Yeah, I mean, the book was obviously written to be quite an indictment of
the man.
The man.
Yes.
the man.
Now I've always wondered, there's a movie with Battlestar Galactica's and the A-Team's Dirk Benedict. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically the same story.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
He plays a Vietnam vet who goes to a small town, gets chased out by the locals.
Yeah.
And Linda Blair is in it. And they throw in a love story too with Linda Blair, who understands that he's just troubled.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that one. I'll have to look it up. I was a fan of Dirk Benedict.
There's a
it's like he's good in it because he barely talks, because they portray PTSD in that movie like really well.
Yeah, there is like a whole host of
movie portrayals. There's probably like that. For like, it was a B movie, but still they did a good job with the quietness thing.
Oh, I love B movies, man. Those are my thing. To give an unsolicited plug, Riff Tracks has just reinvigorated my love for that. And taking my kids to see those movies get roasted by those guys. We'll go to Riff Tracks Live back when we had those things called movie theaters, and we would just roll. So,
have they done Neil Breen yet?
No.
Oh my God.
No. I'm hoping things clear up and we're able to get back into the tradition, because there's so many good things. Them and another unsolicited plug, and I apologize, Pete. Red Letter Media, Best of the Worst. That has gotten me through this whole situation.
What's funny about Best of the Worst? It's funny and sad. Is every time they see a movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that when I was like 10.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I remember watching that on VHS at my neighbor's house, or on USA Up All Night.
Oh yeah, there you go, man. Yeah,
My area had a thing called Mona's Place, which was our Elvira ripoff.
Oh, okay.
Like Mona, like Moan. But yeah, and she was basically a carbon copy Elvira. But yeah, they showed the B movies every Saturday night.
Because Matty says, I have 2 shots left of Jameson's Black Barrel, so I can't justify opening a single malt. That'll do.
This is when Dobermans were still considered dangerous.
Oh, yes. Dobermans were these scary dogs.
Yeah.
So there's the guy from Cool Hand Luke's just bought it. Well, he's not dead. He's just been injured. But Rambo's taken him out because he knows the dogs are more dangerous at this point. So he's basically, if the dog handler's out of action, and the dogs really don't get any orders. So that's why he shot the dog handler.
Yeah, and I tactically, this makes sense because you got to get the dogs off.
Yeah,
the dogs are what'll find you.
Yeah,
I got to raise a big stink though. Those are not ARs. They're actually using M16s.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and I didn't get a good look at Brian Dennehy's rifle, but it looked like an AK, and those are not. This is not police issue. ARs are one pull, one bullet, one shot.
Yeah.
So being chased by full auto, this is a little over the top, but still good.
Another stink is a dog handler would not have Dobermans to track people down.
No, absolutely not.
Don't do that.
Be hounds. Yeah.
And they're very cowardice as a dog. They're very timid and shy and afraid of their shadows.
But they look scary.
Very
big on Magnum PI.
Yeah.
A baby son of a bitch.
They were the hit dog of the 80s.
They were the scary dog. Of course,
the Rottweilers took their place.
Dogs do die not in real life, but in the movie, Rambo has obviously just ended a dog.
Yeah.
Man's gonna eat.
Anybody want some dog burgers? Don't eat dog.
I'm gonna stop right here.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, you're
another thing about eating dogs is
coronavirus.
Anyway, you have to say it.
Yeah, there we went.
I was just going to say later in the cave scene, it was supposed to be bats in the cave scene, and they replaced it with rats.
Oh, you mean the animal that wouldn't exist that far in the wilderness?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, I think Washington State's comparable with Britain. It's cold and it rains all the time.
You can wrangle rats, though.
Can you?
You can't wrangle a bat. Yeah, rats.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining a cowboy with a tiny lasso at this point. Come on.
Yeah, you got to come to Fort Worth.
Yeah. The rat rustlers?
Yeah, we'll take you to the rat yard. It's behind the stockyard.
Come on. Here's a feisty one.
All right, and I got to correct myself.
That bacon ran off with my whole herd.
I don't think that is an AK. I think Brian Dennehy's carrying looks like an Israeli Arms Gilad.
Hear the soundtrack? It does. It's I think they had like loads of different firearms for this movie, but you'll know better than me. Yeah, I've got no idea. Like you can see from my avatar, Pete Bow is using a fully automatic wooden spoon.
Well, when you got to lay the smacketh down, a wooden spoon is best.
Yeah. Hey, they won't take me with. There you go. Oh, look at that! Stabs him in the leg. Bang. Injured.
Oh, nice. And
means, what's that about? If injure a man, means they've got to look after him now, haven't they?
That's right. So instead of if you kill a man, they leave him behind. They can leave him behind, but you injure him, it's going to take at least 2 to carry him out.
3, get rid of him. Yeah. And now they're starting to go nuts. It's like, get me out of here.
Yeah,
and he's going to die from infections because he stabbed that dog with that knife.
Oh yeah,
he didn't clean that blade.
All right, For those of you in the chat, every time you see an idiot with his finger, his booger hook on the bang button, you got to do a shot. So far, I would be dead from alcohol poisoning.
Nice. Jumped out again. Injured someone else. So they're all just injuring all of them now. And we're going to get that scene. Look at this. It's brilliant. It just stands in front of the guy. And they're shooting each other. That's a brilliant one, that.
Well, and the other thing is, think about this psychologically. You're separated, and he's taking you out one by one.
Yeah.
So it's, ow. Hold on a minute.
Predator. He's just been thorned in the groin, I think. Hopefully it didn't hit the pleasure zone. And somebody else has just fallen into a pit. It's just like, shall we just go home for tea and crumpets now?
Yes. This is the point where you say, I'm out.
This is
I quit.
This is foobard. It's like, sorry, Chief. I know I'm only on like $20,000 a year, but I think my legs and groin are fucked. Pardon the French.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
pardon the French, ladies.
Oh my goodness.
That's the first time I've F-bombed in a while on Movie Watch Live. And now he's tied this guy to a tree with a neck wire, a garrote. Oh, that's the scene. That is the scene where Rambo just appears out of nowhere.
Yes.
Let it go. Don't push it. Don't push it. I'll give you a vibe and believe. See, Sylvester Stallone thought of that song, and many, many years before Disney did. He was robbed, and now Teasel's just had enough. He's almost in tears. It's just too much for him.
Yeah, he probably needs a change of trousers after that. I know I would.
He does. And
fortunately, I wear my brown.
What's it? Well, my brown chinos.
Yes.
We're can you believe we're almost halfway through the movie already?
Yeah, and it's just clipping along. Love it. Not a bit of fat on this movie.
No.
I think Elrod, I think we're back to MASH again here.
Oh, there you go.
It's when
yep. I caught a still in the background. Trapper John and Hawkeye are in there.
Take my wife, please.
Where's Hot Lips?
Yeah. Here we go. So,
all right, you got the state boys in now. State police has come in.
It is a really good movie, Sadie. It's really good. It's so fast as well. So fast. Possibly above the snow line. John Rambo.
Oh, God. Yeah, and they've got 80s anchors down.
Yeah.
Your man on the scene.
I'm wearing my woolen pea coat, which is not really good if it rains.
Next up, Jerry with the weather.
It appears I've been shot in the groin. Back to you, Phil.
Oh, nice little teased up hair there on the assistant
there he is.
on the left.
There he is with his real broken nose.
Man, yeah.
Lester. The National Guard, by the way, that you'll see in just a minute, they just basically used all of their real names. So I'm looking forward to seeing Cousin Bullseye Earl. Ralph.
Me and Earl, we go way back. I gotta say though, I don't know what Mama sees in him.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy, though. I've got to say.
Oh, he did get the family mustache, So,
Oh, he's F-bombed. See, that's all right now then.
oh, okay. All right. Yeah, this is not. I guess we probably should have warned before we started. This is not necessarily one the kids need to watch.
No, it's not a kids' movie. Well, I say that. To be honest, almost every kid has seen this movie. Here we have Troutman. I trained him. I commanded him.
Ooh.
I'd say that makes it mine. These lines by full bird colonel. These lines from Troutman are the best. And I don't think you understand. And you get the line, Rambo is the best, exactly halfway through the movie. And this is
that's a great line right there. Came to rescue you from him.
Have you got to the speech yet?
No.
No, just about to.
So, Cosmetti, we're about 46 minutes in.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
the
right
best.
on that.
Guns, knives, bare hands, his butthole. Ignores weather.
We had a good start.
His speech is what defines every 80s low-budget action movie after.
Exactly, yes.
To kill, period. Period means something else in
He's
Britain.
an expert in everything. He was the best in Vietnam.
No. You misunderstand, Pete. It was to kill periods. He hates punctuation.
All right. Okay. Did you know that? I mean, I think, did I mention that there's 18 rewrites of the script, and there is at least 5 or 6 different permutations of possible actors for the movie as well. And Troutman was considered, well, there's loads of different actors who was considered for the role. And Richard Crenna was brought in at the last minute, literally the Friday before filming began.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he actually had to have his lines read for him off camera because he didn't know any of his lines.
Oh man!
So it was Kirk Douglas. Imagine if it had been Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas was originally cast to play Colonel Troutman.
Well, but it's not me.
And but he didn't agree with the script because he thought that the ending, like the novel, Rambo should die or kill himself or something. And
like Van Gogh.
Yeah, like
No, it should have been Christopher Walken. See, John is a killing machine. First off, he'll hunt you down, and then he'll get you. He'll kill you with
all the way
cowbell
down.
Yeah.
Like my son Chip.
He's even crazier than my veteran in Deer Hunter.
I just imagine Kirk Douglas would want to play Rambo. I don't think he would want to give up that
Troutman,
young action star vanity.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
so I'm going to star in this movie? Like, well, no, we want you to play the tough colonel. So he kills everyone and wins? Like, well, no, he's just kind of, no.
Yeah. Can Rambo do one-handed push-ups like me? But you're 3,000 years old, Kirk.
I am Spartacus.
See,
I'm trying to find the other. There's loads of other actors that were also going to play Rambo as well. Chris Christopherson.
Oh no!
Was actually going to be Rambo. Can you imagine that? Because of the success of Convoy, we've got to do Convoy sometime.
Oh my gosh! Yes, we got to do Convoy.
And so they considered him for the role, but he would have been far too old. Even Stallone is too old because he was born, I think, in 45. Was he? I'm not sure. But yeah, so
yeah,
I would have been big mistake if Chris Christopherson had been.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine the old rubber duck in this role. Sorry, man.
Yeah. Well, Christopherson was born at age 50, so I don't see him.
Full beard, glass of whiskey.
Oh, man. Sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
I was going to say, plus, can you imagine him delivering the lines? You see, Colonel, it's like this.
My back is killing me.
Well, the other person considered for Rambo was Al Pacino.
Oh, God.
Okay. Oh, my.
I'm a crazy guy.
Yeah, I was in the war. I'm slightly crazy.
Was Dustin Hoffman considered? Because he's always that name of that time. It was like every movie they're like, oh, Dustin Hoffman's going to be in it.
And he had great success in Tootsie.
Yeah.
Well, he was the original pick for Superman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
No, because he was a star. Because that's how they cast movies. They're like, hey, this guy had success. Let's put him in the next big thing.
Oh no. Oh, Hollywood.
Like, thank God for Richard Donner saying, like, no, let's get an unknown who looks like Superman.
Yeah, somebody that actually looks like Superman.
Well, talking about Superman, do you know who the sheriff to Chris Christopherson was going to be? Gene Hackman.
Oh, are you? Well,
no, it doesn't. It doesn't end there. Lee Marvin was going to be Colonel Troutman.
Okay,
I can see that though.
I could see that. I could kind of see Gene Hackman be the sheriff, but Chris Christopherson, no.
And Lee Marvin would have been smart because you just pay him in liquor. So cheap.
Yeah.
Well, and he's already got
Daniel's budget. We don't have one of those, sir.
You do now. I was in the Dirty Dozen. Don't you remember?
This is gonna really shock you. This one. Do you remember Maverick? James Garner, Rockford Files.
Yes. Yeah.
He was actually offered the role of Rambo.
Are you kidding?
Rambo?
No.
Come on,
seriously.
He was 9,000 years old when he did Rockford Files.
Well,
yeah.
But I tell you, he turned the role down because he was a veteran of the Korean War. He actually has 2 Purple Hearts,
Huh.
He's a proper legit hero.
Oh yeah, I've always had respect for him as an actor. But no, this is the wrong role for him. Absolutely.
Because he said he didn't want to play a man who's a war vet who then starts fighting with policemen.
Yeah.
With cops. It didn't settle with him.
Yeah, Sadie Bella, I'm right there with her.
Yeah.
With Sadie Bella. That knife. Oof.
And obviously we're sort of commemorating Brian Dennehy. Did you know that he actually apologized later on for implying he'd actually served in the Vietnam War? He said that he was a Vietnam vet, and he admitted later on he was in the US Marines in the 60s, but finished his tour before the Vietnam War officially began. So he had to apologize later.
Hey, is that hunting kid Ricky from Sleepaway Camp?
What are you looking at now?
I don't know.
The hunting kid that he runs across by accident.
Oh yeah, the hunting kid. I'm not sure.
He looks like Ricky from Sleepaway Camp.
Might. It could be. I don't know. Now I'll be honest. I have not seen the original Sleepaway Camp.
Does that ring a bell? Danny Wasner?
No. I don't know his real name. So
didn't Goldsmith do the music for Stripes as well?
Oh, really?
Oh no, it was Spies Like Us, wasn't it?
Oh no,
same kind of sound, isn't it? I love this kind of military sort of like orchestra.
Okay. Now I got to bring this in. Because you're right. The music is great. You're going into an orchestral, military, brass, very strong sound. But it's the Weekend Warriors.
Yeah,
when you bring the National Guard in, it goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, part timers. There's the boy there. I've just got the bit with the boy. Elrod, are you ahead?
Oh, there he is.
I think mine skipped ahead.
Yeah, we've just got that bit now.
Yeah, I'm at 5506.
So obviously he's not going to kill a boy.
Right,
that was his mistake tactically. Obviously, I'm not saying he should have killed the boy. Let's just put that disclaimer in now. But what else could he do? And now that he's been discovered.
Yeah, he knows his position is given up.
Yeah. I'll just reiterate that. I don't believe people should kill children. Okay.
No. No. And we all know what you meant.
Now, do you know that after Kirk Douglas walked away from this, they even tried to get Rock Hudson?
Oh, come on.
For Troutman. Can you imagine Rock Hudson as Troutman?
No.
So yeah, there's two alternative endings for this, where one alternative ending is Troutman kills Rambo, and the other one is he commits suicide. Oh, so what's he using there? I mean, obviously it's just explosive charges on the line. Yeah,
those are all M16s. During the early 80s, that would have been standard issue for the U.S. Army, U.S. military in general. So,
this is a great portrayal of the Weekend Warriors, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Very much so.
Steve,
I'm supposed to be at a barbecue right now.
All right, I've got to give up a story here. So forgive me for a moment while the Weekend Warriors are up. I know someone that I'm not going to name who, but their husband was in the military, and while they were stationed at a certain base, the Weekend Warriors came in for training. Part of the training was artillery. So they're in their homes one day, and suddenly they hear a loud boom from the middle of the base. The National Guard, the Weekend Warrior guys, had accidentally dropped an artillery round in the middle of the softball field on base. So my faith in the National Guard is not the strongest.
True. And we're just getting to the point where we're going to see Cousin Earl. Oh, there's Cousin Earl.
Oh
my God.
Oh, yeah. See, he rocks the mustache. He's got the glasses.
The action glasses.
I have to admit, I'm very frustrated with him that he wore the helmet and covered up the luxurious locks. We have those red locks, Scottish locks that define us.
Bye. You ready for the line? Ready for the line? Cousin Earl.
Woo!
Whoa! Is that Magnum's chopper there?
No,
we missed that. That was earlier. That was a new chopper, the little bird.
It literally reminds me of Magnum PI.
It's sweet. Yeah, it's similar, but man, now that was a sweet copter.
This is the age of giant mustache, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was the age of gentlemen.
Freddie Mercury, the Burt Reynolds.
Yes, the Burt Reynolds, the Mercury.
Sex Panther.
My dad had that mustache for a little bit.
Oh, everybody had
Gerald
that mustache.
McRaney. Yeah.
Now, a little known fact about Earl, he didn't actually shoot the bazooka, so his bullseye was just a line.
Now that's a foretelling scene. That would be now. Like, hey, let's all take a selfie, everybody.
Yeah.
This is going on my Instagram right now.
Well, back in the days, Instagram was the corkboard.
Hey, you got 1K likes.
Don't call me a thought.
Some things never change, man. You know.
No. Polaroid changed the world.
Yes, it did, man.
Last week, wasn't it? Time Bandits, we talked about Polaroid cameras, the Instamatic. I had one of those.
Oh, see, now the match. You got the match out of the.
This is great, yeah. Yeah, he finds a rag, he tears it off his thing, and he makes a torch. Did you know that Sylvester Stallone is actually claustrophobic?
I did not know that.
Yep.
How does he wear a wig? Because that's incredible. I mean, I guess vanity over claustrophobia, but good God, there's nothing more claustrophobic than a wig.
Well, he is definitely claustrophobic. And another point, actually, the special forces nowadays do have a test, don't they? They weed out anybody who is claustrophobic, and you just don't get any further if you want to be in the Green Berets.
Wonder why.
Exactly.
That's an odd thing.
Well, you've got to crawl through all these tiny spaces.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
you can't risk somebody losing it.
Well, and you got to think about it, you know, with special forces, SEALs, things like that.
Yeah, especially SEALs. They do a lot of tight spaces, and
there's so many people wanting in. You know, they've got to weed out as much as possible. Otherwise, everybody's a Navy SEAL, and it doesn't make a difference.
Yep.
Yeah, if everyone's a Navy SEAL, then no one's a Navy SEAL.
Oh, that's very progressive of you, Pete.
I just stole a line from The Incredibles.
Yes.
I'm using my knife as a torch. It's a knife, it's a torch. It cuts through tomatoes and tin cans.
Yeah, I used to work at a restaurant, and there was a customer there that was a Pentagon guy, and he used to approve SEAL trainees.
Mm-hmm.
And he would do the psych tests basically, and it would be like little things like they could be overly qualified and they'd like the wrong movie, and he'd be like, no, they're not good.
Yeah,
they're going to be too gung-ho or not gung, just
not
little things that were little triggers like, nah, that's probably not a good candidate.
So Diesel's convinced that Rambo's now dead. Troutman knows he's not, and this is maybe what you call the
trained him to be a roach. He can't die.
He can
multiply
in the wind.
Right now, he's laying eggs, Green Beret eggs,
under your counter, in your flour, behind your bottles of scotch.
Little
Rambos are coming from everywhere
right now.
He has a rat.
Rubbing their little eggs.
So yeah, I mean, this is the quiet bit in the movie. We've already had like 2/3 of the movie, and we're now getting to like the sort of quiet bit. That shows you what it's been like. It's normally movies have like the quiet bit right in the middle where everybody takes a break, and because of how short it is,
that had to be real because that was such a good fall.
Yeah, and he turned his arm again.
That was the most realistic stumble.
Like really stuttery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bet he really fell.
That was not a movie fall. That was like, oh crap.
Keep rolling. Keep rolling.
What do you mean keep rolling?
Keep rolling. What do you think of
Diesel? Yeah, that's fine. Are you sure? Oh, that's good.
No, that's good.
He's got a cat. I'm sorry, ladies. He's got a stuffed cat. He's a cat killer.
Dude, killer. All right, and that's what petebo@gmail.com where you complaints are sent. Definitely don't email me.
Pretty soon we're going to see. This is where Teasel thinks it's all over, and he just has a little break. But this is where we see Teasel looking at his medals because he just looks through them and we can tell that he's a decorated war hero. He looks through all of his, Medal of Honor and all the rest of them. So that's an indication of his, his past.
Yeah, and I do want to bring up.
There's a rat.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to interfere with the rat scene, so I'll wait till after that.
So this is rats instead of bats. Oh, look at the rats!
Look at them on his back. These are like really well trained. These are very tame.
We've got the.
How did you not know there were 50 pounds of rats on him?
He's checking those. He's got the action hero. Get after you, rats!
Yeah, this is why my dad couldn't stand the movie, because he was like deathly afraid of rats.
Right.
Yeah, completely understandable.
Like he was like, that wouldn't happen because he wouldn't live out in the woods like that, but it's still freaky.
yeah, absolutely.
He still couldn't watch it.
Yeah, rats want, they want our garbage basically.
Yeah, they go for sources of food.
Yeah, I don't think they're a parasite, but they're basically is. They're
opportunists.
Yeah, they are a hanger-on species.
Well, right now they're going crazy because the quarantine with all the restaurants closed down.
Well, in this country, initially it was the opposite because everybody panic bought perishable foods and threw the stuff away a week later. So everybody's bins were filled with fish cakes and salads and
yeah. Well, here all the restaurants are closed, so their garbage bins are empty. So the rats
eating each other now.
Cities are going to be moving into the restaurants because they're going to go after those freezers full of food.
Oh yeah,
that have been left unattended. Because if one thing goes bad, which I'm sure many things have, with things being closed down for a month, like they can smell it up to like 2 miles away, something like that.
Yeah, they've got a really good sense of smell, but they can sense variations in air temperature and current and all sorts.
Well, in New Orleans, the rats are literally fighting in the streets.
Yeah.
Like they're killing each other for food because, it's not there anymore.
Maybe somebody will make like a really gritty version of Ratatouille someday. It'll be like Rat Wars. These were the days.
Welcome to Baltimore.
It's the apocalypse rat. Would you go wrap around him, give him a big sloppy kiss? So we're at 1 hour 8 minutes, and this is where Troutman's trying to convince Teasel that Rambo's still alive. Doesn't believe he's dead. Troutman's enjoying a nice cigar and a glass of brandy. A little bit of trivia. Sylvester Stallone went through this entire movie just with a tank top on, didn't suffer any injury by it, but somebody gave him a glass of brandy and he was seriously ill. Doesn't like brandy, obviously.
Oh, interesting. Oh, and I see the chat up. I agree with Cosmetti. Yeah. Dead cat. Yeah, gotta go.
Gotta go.
All right, now
Mark the villain. Taxidermy always marks a villain.
Now that we're past the rat, one of the things in the U.S. that you probably don't know about, Pete, but other U.S. folks will know about is the Korean War, especially during the 80s, was known as the Forgotten War.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can understand the motivations. Why they wrote Teasel as a Korean veteran. Yeah, kind of bitter because they went out, they did their duty, they fought the war, they did what was asked, and they were forgotten.
Yeah,
for years and years.
Literally.
And yet the Vietnam vets, yes, they were badly prepped, but they got the attention. The Korean vets
got the guilt. Like they got the guilt love where people felt bad about how they treated them.
Yeah.
And then by the 90s, when the Persian Gulf stuff kicked off, it was like almost too popular the troops were.
Yeah.
Because it was that whole, like, we feel bad for what we did to them 20 years ago, and now we're going to overcompensate by throwing parades before the war.
we made a concerted effort to make sure that, no matter where we stood on the war, the troops were out of it.
I mean, even now, like, people are like, I hate war. I love the troops.
Yeah.
They can all die, but I do love them. But they're evil, but I love them. I love the troops. Like, that's always like the safe switch people click on so they don't make people too angry.
Yeah, it's now an accepted etiquette, isn't it? So Rambo's just captured. He's got out the mine. He's captured a truck in the convoy, the Weekend Warriors convoy, going back to town, and because he's decided they won't leave him alone, so he's going to go back into town and give them the word they wish they never heard, etc.
That's him. Kill him.
And he just stole the truck full of beautiful, beautiful American-made M60s. Shooting 7.62 NATO. Oh.
I'm laughing at what's his name again? The guy that
is it Leon?
Yeah, basically
Leon and Leroy.
Alf Humphreys, Lester. Every time we see him, he's got yet another injury.
He's got like a new injury each time.
He's got like his arm plastered, broken nose, broken arm, wrist or whatever.
Hey, Sheriff, can you stop petting your dead cat? We got a problem.
Stop being all Blomfield in there.
Did all of the police in America buy the exact same car from the exact same company?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They still do.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, there are slight variations. You'll see, like, for example, you would see Capri's or Crown Vics.
Yeah, in this movie, they're all different makes because it's whatever was laying around the prop department or whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, police departments, they do standardize on either a Ford made or a Chevy made vehicle.
The Chevy Monaco was 70s, 80s. And then the Dodge Diplomat was the big one in the 80s.
Oh, yes, yes.
And that was the one like car tuners bought them all up.
Yeah, sorry, we've got to geek out a little bit.
Power.
So they're trying to attack Rambo and the truck. Yeah, but he's just going to run them off the road.
Yeah, I was going to say, boys, let me explain basic physics to you about a 20,000-pound truck versus a 2,000-pound LTD.
Yeah, a truck literally made out of granite.
Did you see that look of shock? He's like, oh my God, look at the trunk space on that car. I could put this truck inside that car.
That's got great suspension in it. Probably a roomy interior and headroom.
Woman driver.
Have either of you seen Top Gear or Grand Tour? They did an episode where they went to Dubai. Now, the police in Dubai have like Lamborghinis, Porsches, and like Veyrons and things like that. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like, because everybody's got sport cars, so you have to have like the extreme sport cars.
Otherwise, when the police sponsor is a billionaire too, he's going to give you the best.
Yeah, I mean, a Crown Vic is a good car and all, but it won't reach 180 on a straightaway. So,
wow, that's a great scene when the truck bursts through the blockade.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if like Convoy was a bit of influence on this because, you know, it was like anti-establishment. It was like, screw the man, blah, blah.
May have been, you know, and it wouldn't surprise me if the success from that caused this one to get the green light.
Yeah. I mean, you got Convoy, Smokey and the Bandit. Like,
oh, there you go. Smokey and
all
the Bandit.
The rebel movies.
All the fast-moving, fast-talking.
And if you really break it down, Rambo is basically a Western just set in modern times.
Yeah, he's a drifter.
Yes, it really is. I mean, the whole, like, the small-town sheriff is villainous. And
oh, hang on a minute, boys. Out come the ammo's cans. 7.62 NATO.
It's here to watch the world burn.
This is it. And he does this to distract them. And I love the bit where he goes into the gun shop and all the ammo, because of the heat, all the ammo starts going off.
Yeah. All right, can I go blue for just a minute, Pete? I won't get too bad.
Go ahead.
I do remember one of the Vietnam War stories from a buddy of mine. We were watching Predator, the original, and we were at the scene where Jesse Ventura broke out the minigun, and my buddy carried an M60 in Vietnam. And they came to that scene where Jesse Ventura breaks out the minigun, starts mowing down guys, and I remember he was about halfway through a 12-pack, and he just piped it up and he goes, "Bullshit!" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, the damn batteries on that thing had weighed so much you couldn't carry the sumbitch. So I lugged a M60 for a year through GD Vietnam. No way. All right, I'm back.
So this is the announcement from the sheriff's office. Attention all civilians. Self-isolate. How dare you?
See, this is where I think he was probably a villainous sheriff because his intercom system with the town.
Yeah, that's not
maybe
normal.
He is a tyrant.
Too much of an
Maybe
overseer.
he has cameras in everybody's houses.
Yeah, I think he spent too much time in Korea.
North Korea.
Maybe he was captured.
With his buddy Kim.
Yeah, maybe he's a sleeper.
It's like when I was in North Korea, I got some ideas about being a dictator.
I kind of, I'm not saying that they're good guys, but some of the stuff they're saying makes sense, man.
I love their fashion sense. And I found that being a small town sheriff, I get to wear brown a lot. So it kind of works.
Yeah, I gotta say, U.S. sheriffs and their fascination with brown uniforms just doesn't do it for me.
I don't understand why. I mean, the designer of the sheriff's uniforms is like, the person who commissioned the uniforms. Okay, that's great, but can we make it more drab?
Yeah, could we
reduce the saturation on that brown by another 20%, please?
Yeah, and can we make those white shirts beige? I
think that the best is Rhode Island with their state troopers that wear like the Mountie outfit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like what was that Jim Carrey movie where he plays one?
Me, myself, and Irene.
Yeah, and they dress like that.
I'll have to make a road trip to Rhode Island when I can get out again.
That's a very boy film. It really is. I don't think the ladies would appreciate that movie.
No, I don't think that's one we can do on Movie Watch.
No, but that's not on the agenda.
I will admit I laughed hard.
It is good. Troutman's just said those lines about, I'm the closest thing he's got to family. And again, that reiterates the theme of, Rambo's the clockwork soldier who's gone wrong. And like Frankenstein's monster, and Troutman's like Frankenstein who feels remorse and trying to correct the mistake. I mean, it did that many years. I mean, the books are written a lot earlier, but the films of the Bourne movies were all about that, weren't they? About soldiers and what happens when they go wrong. Or even the whole concept of making people who are like this.
Well, it's kind of speaking to the draft, where you were making people conscripting and making people to join, and basically creating them into things.
Exactly, making them do things they never wanted to do, never dreamed of doing, and then they just
never signed up for. And and who gets drafted? Guys like Rambo are probably a poor kid with no money, no
Brooklyn kids. Yeah.
Troutman's going, or I'm sorry, Dennehy's going full Korean shop owner.
Yeah.
I tell you, a movie we should also watch, which leads on from that point, is a film called The Hill with Sean Connery, which he filmed around the same time as Goldfinger, we were saying last time, which really deals with that,
I don't remember that one. Yeah.
Do you know what this reminds me of? I know it sounds crazy, but the small town where all the lights go off and everything. It reminds me of Gremlins.
Yeah.
And there was a Christmas tree just a second ago.
Yeah,
there was.
Christmas time, the lights go off, all hell breaks loose.
All right. Hot, unpopular opinion. going to stoke up some controversy. Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It is. It is.
Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, just like Die Hard.
And Die Hard 2.
Oh, was Die Hard 2 Christmas? I don't remember. Oh, man. See? I'm
47s have ejector seats in that movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yes. The ejector seat scene.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm 3 scotches in. Oop, gun traders.
Much like Rambo, the movie started off grounded and then went full cartoon.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a gun store. This is something that doesn't really exist in my country. So you'll have to explain to me what this freedom thing is.
Oh, my brother, this is freedom completely and totally.
We do have a wide selection of wooden spoons and potato peelers.
Oh, brother, you've got to come visit me in Texas. Please, please let me take you to a couple of gun stores, some gun ranges. Oh.
Well, I'll admit, I am a gun virgin. I have never shot a gun.
We'll be gentle. Come on, my brother.
Yeah, come visit me. The NRA headquarters is like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, nice.
And they have a gun range on premises, and apparently they let you go and shoot guns.
Now, everybody that opposes gun rights, I would like to point out, Rambo, while he is wearing the Sergeant Rock ammo belts, he is using black powder. So this is Second Amendment protected.
Yes.
Yep. That's one for George Washington.
Didn't
Strategery.
Didn't he play a similar character in Silverado with Cobb? Cobb was an overbearing.
I'm trying to remember because I remember I love Silverado.
Yeah.
But
Silverado was great. It's brilliant. We're going to have to do that movie. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's wonderful Western. Love it.
It's kind of like the last good Western before Tombstone.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. Unforgiven.
Oh, yeah.
I would say Tombstone, Unforgiven, and Silverado fit into the same niche.
Yeah.
Like for the what I mean, like the big, like the Saturday matinee Western, like Silverado was really a throwback.
Yeah. Because Matty says this is
like Unforgiven is like its own category.
It is, definitely. By the way, they had no shooting range there either, so it was super tight.
That's true. There are some that only sell guns and ammo. I have physically been in them. However, I can tell you in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, North Texas, there are even Bass Pro Shops has a shooting range in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Teaser's on the roof, and all this has been to distract him so that Rambo can sneak up on him. As he's doing now, he's in the police station now, and Teaser's waiting for him. That's all right, Sadie. Don't worry. I'll get to shoot a gun someday. Maybe. That's if we're still allowed to travel outside our own country.
Someday you'll make it to the States and you'll visit each of us, and I promise each and every one of us will treat you right.
So this scene here, obviously poignant because all of the gunshots have stopped. Quiet.
Yeah. No soundtrack, silence, no music. Love it.
So this is the archetypal, end scene. Shoots him in the foot and leg. And of course, that's one thing I do know about modern life.
Job.
Go through anything. You can't hide behind a car and expect to not get shot.
No. I think Mythbusters said if you put enough telephone books in there, you're okay.
This is the bit where you see this scene here. Trump was trying to convince him not to do it, And this is where the alternative endings come in. I think there's 3 alternative endings. One is Troutman kills Rambo to stop him killing Teasel. Another one is Rambo commits suicide. They actually filmed that scene, and part of that scene is like shown as a flashback in Rambo 2. And the third ending was where Rambo goes out the front of the police station and just kills all the police officers. Just shoots everybody up. So this is where it deviates from the book again, because Rambo doesn't kill himself. Sorry to spoil it.
Spoilers.
Unless you're watching the Soviet version.
Do you know the film was over 3 hours, and it was so bad that it made Stallone and his agent sick. It said it was a career killer, so it was saved in the editing room, cut it right down to half size, and now Sylvester's on record as saying it's now his favorite film that he ever did, and he wouldn't change it for a thing. Wouldn't change it.
Yeah, and I've got to hand it to the editor. They did a fantastic job. Really, they kept the important stuff in. They trimmed off all the fat, and hats off to them.
You were spent back, I was yours. The bit at the end where he says the bits of him all over, that's the best bit. This is what Flash was saying is the give me an Oscar speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then he breaks down.
You know, that's an interesting
Oscar.
I had a buddy that had a similar complaint. Yeah, he talked about he was in the Navy Reserve. He said, on the weekends I go out. I'm in charge of, entire ships for the U.S. government. He says I come back and through the week when I'm off my weekend stint. He said I'm just, I've got some kid telling me what to do. So
yeah,
I can understand where Rambo's coming from.
Well, my dad was in the Navy, and he was a helmsman on a battleship. And he gets out, and the first thing then he's like driving a Volkswagen or something. He was just like, it was a change.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you're driving a car, and you're like, what am I doing in a car? This is dumb.
Oh gosh,
I was driving like a multi-million-dollar battleship.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a week ago.
I've got another terrible weekend warrior story. A buddy that was in I'm going to say at the Air Force Reserve talked about. He says I did my weekend stint, and during his weekend stint, they had him driving a truck like Rambo did through the movie. He says, so I got done with my weekend. I got to my little Ford Escort to drive home, and he says in the truck, the process is you floor it, get the RPMs up, and dump the clutch. He says, I do that in my Escort out of habit. After driving all weekend, my Escort goes flying across the parking lot sideways.
Do you hear the line there as well? There's bits of my friend all over me. I want to go home, Johnny. I want to drive my Chevy, and I can't find his fucking legs.
Yes.
It's pretty
Sorry,
bad.
I shouldn't have rambled over that part.
That's all right. This is like, I remember the first time I saw this movie, and I was laughing, and I thought, I should not be laughing here, but it's just the way he said, I couldn't find his fucking legs.
It's because it's Stallone, I think.
Yeah.
He delivers the line. It's just
especially now, because he is such a cartoon character in life that it's like he would never get a part like this now, I don't think.
I mean, does this work, the crying hero? Does this actually work?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think it does. I think his outburst was over the top.
I would, if I was making it, I would probably just go straight to the crying.
Yeah.
Like with no words, just because how can you put into words people losing their legs and for the horrors that you see, there's no words for that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and exactly. Sorry, go ahead, Pete.
No, it's fine. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say, and that's why, his outburst doesn't work.
Right. Because it's a battle that people fight, like even now, every day, and it's like it's unseen, it's unheard, so it's impossible to put words on it.
So that's a theme tune. It's a long road. So meaning, these people are never going to truly get over what happened. So Stallone obviously wanted to make the character into a different person in the book. They didn't want to make him a cold-blooded killer. They wanted to make him like a man who was lost and couldn't handle what had happened to him. And I think, it's a movie that had a lasting effect on cinema. The other people who even, almost everybody claims to have been chosen for the role of Rambo. Even Chuck Norris said in an interview
my gosh.
at one point he was possibly brought up to play Rambo. That just wouldn't have worked.
He would have been too old as well. He was in Korea, right?
Yeah. And even, the list goes on and on and on. This is one of the things about this movie. Even Dustin Hoffman, you were saying before in another conversation we had, Dustin Hoffman even wanted to play the lead role. How the hell would that work?
Living in Texas, I'm still waiting for my chance to run into, or my run-in with Chuck Norris. I've had friends that have had it. I haven't yet. So,
were you kind of hoping Texas would secede from the Union just so Chuck Norris could be a foreign actor?
Oh no, I want.
That was my only reason I wanted that. I was like, if that happens, then Chuck Norris is a foreign actor. Then he's taken seriously.
Well, not only a foreign actor, we could put subtitles on him, but he would be president of Texas. So,
oh yeah.
I realize that goes without saying.
So here's a
Colonel Chuck Norris.
Well, I was trying to think of a Chuck Norris joke there. Chuck Norris doesn't have to play Rambo; he is Rambo.
Yeah, Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups; he pushes the earth down.
Yeah. So going back to what was said at the start, and this is a quote I think from somewhere. Taxi driver. This is about Vietnam vets. Taxi driver had a disturbed Vietnam veteran, Travis Bickle, who tries to assassinate the president in that movie. And goes on a killing spree at the ending. 1980s Don't Answer the Phone, a crazed Vietnam vet, Kirk Smith, stalking, murdering the women of Los Angeles. Christopher Walken's disturbed and suicidal Nick in The Deer Hunter winds up killing himself.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone's John Rambo, First Blood, gets into conflict with several locals, ends up going crazy. All of these can be seen as part of dangerous Vietnam veteran trend in the 70s. Vietnam War ended, the veterans came home and re-entered society. There was fear that they were disturbed, dangerous, might be a threat to society. A reflection of our overall ambivalence about the war in general. One of the outgrowths of these negative attitudes was Vietnam veterans were often portrayed in movies as dangerous, self-destructive psychopaths. Taxi Driver, Don't Answer the Phone, First Blood, Deer Hunter were all part of the trend. But the trend flip-flopped in the mid-80s. Veterans became deified almost in the movies. John Rambo ceased to be a psychopath and became, in First Blood Part 2, a hero on a mission to go back and save POWs, still trapped there. He goes from misunderstood Frankenstein monster to hero. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, another Vietnam vet. Hey, goes to save his daughter, Elisa.
This is my week, Sally.
No. Good Born in Vietnam, DJ Robin Williams. Born on the 4th of July, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Almost a Christ-like paraplegic war vet. Ron
Platoon.
Yeah, this is it. And then on television, we had China Beach, Donna Delaney, heroic nurses of Vietnam War. So transition movies from psychotic Kirk Smith, the Dons, Answer the Phone, to the saintly Ron Kovic, Born the 4th of July. Really, within 9 years, staggering, and it suggests a dramatic transition in society's attitude towards the war in the 80s.
I also remember in the 80s there was a television show called Tour of Duty.
Yeah.
I love that.
Very
I
popular,
really love
great
that.
show. And I
Was
remember
China Beach a spinoff of that?
I think it was
Was,
sort
yeah.
of. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was loosely tied to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember a buddy of mine whose dad was a Vietnam vet at the time talked about
Mhm.
yeah, he came through at one point while his son was watching the show and said, yeah, in the scene, the soldiers were eating rice, and he walked through, and all he did was he looked at the TV and said, they wouldn't be eating white rice. It would be brown rice, and just kept on walking. So it was a great show. I love that one.
There you go. I mean, the overall legacy of the movie, that is, film's 3 lead actors received a lot of praise. As one of the reviews said, that it was a very good movie, well paced, well acted, not only by Stallone but also Crenna and Brian Dennehy. Although almost all of First Blood is implausible, this particular reviewer said, because it's Stallone on screen, we all buy.
Hey,
I think
that's like my Tuesday. Come on.
yeah, I was Roger L. Ebert. I don't know who we
Yeah,
Markel Effort is a wuss.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, he has never been to Texas.
He's been to West Virginia, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Nowhere safe.
Come fight me IRL, buddy.
Well, this is a better review here. James Bernardinelli, sorry. God, that's a long name. Of Real Views, called a tense and effective piece of filmmaking. Note the film's darker tone, somber subtext, non-exploitative violence allowed the viewer to enjoy the film not only as an action thriller, but as something with a degree of intelligence. Stallone's performance, he said, it seemed impossible to imagine anyone other than Stallone in the part. His capabilities as an actor should not be dismissed. And get this, the New York Times even liked it. Janet Maslin described Rambo as a fierce, agile, hollow-eyed hero portrayed as a tormented, misunderstood, amazingly resourceful victim of the Vietnam War. I think she fancies Stallone.
Yeah, well, I've got to give it to him for the majority of the movie. I felt like he did a very, very good job.
He did a really good job of it, definitely. He's full of energy, and he really put his heart and soul into it.
Well, if you think about it, even the speech at the end, as corny as it can be, that's kind of the switching point for the whole public view of Vietnam.
Yeah. Well,
because when you think of it, like this movie hit at the perfect time because it was when the VHS revolution took off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the success it had was nothing compared to like 5 years after being rented constantly every week.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, the Stallone had wanted $3.5 million. He got $2 million, but he actually made another $1.5 million in VHS.
Does he own a part of the character? I bet, because he tends to do that a lot.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the overall figures are that what did it gross? The budget, it went over budget, and it went over time as well. You know, it actually delayed the filming of Rocky III, this movie. But the budget was $15 million. They ended up spending, I think, closer to $17 million, I think. But the opening weekend, 24th October 1982, is about 6.6 mil on the opening weekend. Gross in the USA was 47 mil, and the worldwide gross was 125 mil. So it's a hell of a return.
What's that in today's money? Like $1 billion?
Probably, yeah. I mean, if
today's it would be like 100 million in its opening or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be tremendous. I mean, as a return, you're talking like almost like what is it?
Yes, spent 17, made 43. Good Lord, that's a great return.
90 times, yeah. Like
that doesn't even count home video, which would have been untold amounts of money.
Yeah,
the VHS market at that time was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I have to tone it back a bit because I kind of busted his chops on his speech at the end. But you know, in fairness, in character, you know, the character of John Rambo is not an educated man. He's not, you know, a philosopher or anything.
He's a warrior, period.
Yeah, and him putting it into terms like that vocally is probably as best as the character could do. So I guess I should be more fair to it.
Well, he opens the speech with that, saying, I didn't choose you, you chose me.
Yeah.
I was just doing what you told me to do. I was fighting and winning.
And this is it. They train him and they make him into this, which then can't function when it comes back to society. It's just like they give birth to this war machine baby, and then it's just dropped in a bin type of thing. Well, off you go and get on with it. And I think that's true of a lot of people who've been through warfare, where they come back home and they think, well,
yeah, absolutely. Right. Military life is very structured. They tell you when to get up. They tell you when to eat. They tell you what to do, and your whole day is planned out. You get out, and it's just like, okay, what do you want to do? And it's difficult for a lot of guys to adjust.
Become a cop where you get to wear a uniform and have a uniform haircut like you had before.
Yeah. Yeah, or you take the path of Rambo and you let your hair grow out. You can for the first time.
Gain about 60 pounds.
Yeah. Or you become like me and you wear a hairpiece and grow your mustache out because you hate your cousin Earl, but that's all right.
Well, he got to use the bazooka.
I know. I hate you, Earl.
But that opening scene to me is significant because that was his last chance to try and adjust. He was going to adjust by finding the people he knew beforehand, because the beginning is him trying to find the only friend he knows is still alive in his mind, and the end is about him saying he's lost all his friends. So that's the tie up for me. That's the tie in together. That completes the loop.
Well, and musically, it's tied together with the Long Road Home at the beginning and the Long Road Home at the end.
Exactly.
So, very good.
Yeah, and I don't think many. I mean, I've just sort of like, I should have really noticed that before now, but it's a long while since I've seen the movie. So like for some vets, they have, well, almost all vets, isn't it? They have like their own support group, which is a veterans associations and societies where they meet together and talk about all the old times, and it's
there's such a good network now for people suffering. Like, I mean, I've suffered from PTSD myself from a car accident, from like the result of a brain injury, and it's something you can't talk about with normal people.
Right? Yeah, we don't understand.
I mean,
as much as we want to sympathize, we can't.
Yeah.
The only, like, as movie wise, the only thing I saw close that really hit it was in Bruges.
Yeah.
I'll have to add that to my list. And
the first time I saw that movie in theaters, I think it was right after I had my injury. Yeah. And I knew the end of the movie before it happened, because I was watching myself on screen.
Yeah.
Because every little motion he makes, and then, it's a big spoiler, but you find out he basically has PTSD and he's in incredible guilt from something he did.
Yeah. And
every single word every motion and every word he does for that whole 2 hours is all because of this one thing that's told, that you find out later, but you're like, it's so spot on.
Yeah. I think, and this is a silly comparison, so forgive me. I'm not trying to put myself in the same category. The closest experience I've had to that is A Star Is Born, where Bradley, I forget the actor's name.
Bradley Christopherson.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. But his character has tinnitus, and occasionally you'll hear strong ringing and noise underneath. I have that as well. So, I remember looking over at Mrs. Ralph, and I was like, "Oh, that's exactly how it is." So,
you and Captain Kirk.
Yes.
He
Captain
also
Kirk.
suffered from it.
Yes, that's correct. I
in
remember,
one ear, and then Spock had it in the other ear.
Yeah,
and it's on film, like when it happened.
Well, and little, I don't think it's a little known fact, but Ted Nugent is deaf in one ear because he always wore one earplug, and mine came from the same thing. I played music in my youth, and and beyond.
Yeah, all radio DJs are deaf, pretty much from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they've worn those earphones for so many years. That and you don't know you're going deaf. Just keep turning up the volume a little bit more every year.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, didn't mean to derail.
No, that's a good point. And I think maybe this movie did a service to the veterans. People realize that they don't have the same experiences, but the movie has the power to transcend that and bring us into a sympathetic arena. And the whole point of this movie was, I think Stallone looked at it and said, well, the book was written about the horrors of what can happen to people and how things can go wrong. And I think his attitude was, first of all, he wanted to make a good movie, the movie that would be popular, but also he also had the angle that, well, this is a hero and we need to be able to sympathize with the hero. So the bog standard mechanics of the hero, who's the hero, and we have to be able to relate to the hero. And I don't know whether we would be able to relate to somebody as a hero who just goes around killing everybody.
No.
So that's the other mechanism of drama itself, of cinema, that it's based upon.
It would have crossed a line, and it's like Freddy Krueger. It's like you can't.
Yeah.
The killing spree, it has to be the all-out, hero killing nameless guys in costumes. It can't be a drifter killing, sheriff's deputies just doing their job.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And like to come back to the officer that was killed that was trying to shoot him as a sniper. I have to agree with him. He didn't really have a choice there. It was his life was on the line. That puts him in the sympathetic light.
Well, it wasn't even like a strategic move. It was more like a get away from me, and he throws a rock.
Yeah. Who in the world thinks you're going to kill somebody throwing a rock?
It was like a desperation kind of thing too.
Yes.
There's it's
like when you're pushing, like if someone's pushing you and you just push them away and they end up falling down the steps and breaking their neck kind of thing, but you were just trying to push them away.
Okay, why did you bring that up? That's never happened to me. You can't prove it.
I didn't even say your second wife. Come on.
I don't have stairs to my basement, I swear. I don't have a basement. Oh,
what
sorry.
basement?
Exactly.
Oh, by the way, I need that backhoe back you used to fill in that hole.
Oh, what about the wood chipper? I've still got to hose it off.
You can keep that. I don't have enough. I mean,
all the lines gone as well.
Pete grows increasingly uncomfortable.
No, it's fine as long as you use lime. That's
Yes, that's right.
Remember the lime. But yeah, you're talking about In Bruges. I mean, I saw that movie, and I actually went to Bruges a year later after seeing the movie.
Did it inspire you to go there, or you just happened to?
It didn't that much inspire me because I'd been to Bruges.
Man, they knocked that town so much. I have to go see it.
Yeah, no, I went as a kid, but I went to Belgium, went to Bruges and Brussels, and I really love beer, and I love Belgian beer,
and your love for diamonds.
I'm holding my pinky to the corner of my mouth right now.
Diamonds.
Almost as much as lasers.
Since we're saying secrets, we know the Pete Mac diamond smuggler's secret. Come on.
Yeah, we're getting back to Bond again.
Your constant trip to South Africa.
Do you know? I didn't mention at the start of the stream. I completely glossed over it. And if there's anybody still watching us, listen to it now. I have to say, Elrod joins us as the avatar. I shouldn't even mention at the start of the stream. Elrod joins us as the avatar of a smart Troutman.
Yes, exactly.
Troutman avatar, but
unlike Ralph, who's thinking about his prison wallet right now and trying to
Yeah.
refrain from making a joke.
But yeah, I mean, Bond is Bond a hero? I mean, he does kill quite regularly. He has a license to kill. Is he a
He's a
hero?
blunt instrument, as Ian Fleming called him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm going to ask you about that
He was a
license to kill,
tool.
especially
He
in the
was not good
UK.
or bad. He was just a tool.
Yeah. Okay. So in the UK, if you have a license to kill, does that mean that you can get a butter knife or a spoon, no questions asked?
and
Just curious.
yeah, you can if you're very nice and you speak to the local police station, you can buy a wooden spoon, and you might be allowed to carry it outside, concealed, of course.
Yeah.
But potato peelers are right out. I'm sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
no,
man,
no.
you can get cigarette lighters, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can get speed stick or like plastic deodorant containers.
Yeah.
All right. That's all you need. You can make it. You can make a prison knife.
There you go. Yeah.
Just
Right.
saying.
Just
My uncle
saying.
was good for something.
Right.
You know, we've all got that uncle that taught us how to make a shiv. You know,
The pull my
his name was Pete too.
pull my finger. Because Matty says, I've just realised these guys have an all-female audience. Gentlemen, we have an all-female audience. That is
ladies.
a great honour.
That's why I dressed up.
And Falling Destiny says, wow, you are right. There we go. So
And Falling into Destiny has she's got her rockin' avatar now. Rock on.
That's why I wore the good mustache.
So, any last thoughts about the movie overall? I think we probably discussed most of it, but what would you say, Ralph? What would you say overall, lasting impression?
Oh, overall, a definite recommend. I think it gives, it gives an exaggerated, but it gives a glimpse into early 80s, especially, small town mentality, and kind of a glimpse into some, as everyone has brought up, some of the concerns that we had about Vietnam vets in that time period. So it's definitely a recommend. I enjoyed it greatly, and I think it's a strong movie.
Mm-hmm. And Flash?
Yeah, it's definitely a good time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the scenery alone, I was like, good Lord, I forgot how pretty the movie was.
It's
gorgeous cinematography. Absolutely.
And it was at that time where cameras were getting small enough they could actually film in the woods. And that really, it's like one of those few, other than like Predator, it's one of the few movies where you really feel like they're in the wilderness and not just, on a backdrop.
Yeah, exactly. You're not on a backlot. You know that you're out.
Or you're not at the edge of the woods. You're like in the woods.
Yeah.
I think there's a running theme to a lot of the movies we do on this channel, which is that, you two guys went there for Duelists. If you haven't seen Duelists before, that is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
That was all set. Right? Yeah, it was directed by Ridley Scott, and that was all done in real buildings and real locations. And and then you got something like we did. We've done other movies which take you into the zone where you are, and this is another one. And I think the common feature with these movies is that you really feel like you're in the world, you're part of what's going on because of the intimacy of the direction and everything. You're in the scene with the actor. Whereas a lot of the past, like you said, it was a set piece shot where you had to have camera mounted.
Well, my biggest thought though is it's kind of a bittersweet movie, just as a movie itself, because Rambo 2 is just like G.I. Joe live action.
Yeah, agreed. 2, 3,
That's right.
Yeah, 2, 3. The one where he's in Thailand is a little better. I didn't mind that so much because they got rid of a lot of the cliche stuff of one-man army. Like he actually hires an army to go with him.
I'm sorry, Rambo 3, where he's in Afghanistan fighting the Russians, dude. That makes me stand up and salute every day.
And his hair was extra Bon Jovi in that movie too.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It was teased to ultimate.
Yeah, a decent application of Soul Glow
Yeah. Oh my God, he was like super Soul Glow in that movie.
Yeah.
He had Last Dragon power in that movie.
Now I gotta say though, Stallone physically, as far as physique, peaked in I think it was Rocky IV where he went to Russia.
Yeah.
That guy was just completely ripped in that one. So sidetrack, but that was another
ripped.
America.
He wasn't like in Rambo 2 where he's ripped, but he's like kind of anorexic ripped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we've got to put in is the physical work that he had to do to keep the physique for the character.
Yeah.
But see, that's something I like about this one as well, is he doesn't really have that physique.
Yeah, well, he doesn't flaunt it, but you know, in the scene where they strip him going into the cell and they see his scars, that's an impactful.
It's like a more average build. He's not all like, roided out or anything.
Is he?
Well, true.
He looks normal. He looks like a guy who's, just walking around the country.
Yeah, that's true.
Not eating a lot of carbs.
I mean, this character as well. I mean, like I say, it was the first non-Rocky character that didn't flop, and I think he was very concerned, obviously, because he finally had some success with Rocky. He didn't want to take on something else that was going to flop because by this time he was a brand and he was thinking about his popularity, and so he had to make this work. And this character really is, to all intents and purposes, this is the character you see in Expendables. Just a lot later on, it's practically the same character, and the Expendables movies are like a tongue-in-cheek celebration of all of the 1980s action movies. Mm-hmm. It goes full circle again.
It should have been. I don't think they really hit that mark, but
but this is
could have been that.
Well, that's right. I mean, the only other movie in the 80s earlier than this, which is you could classify as an action movie, is Mad Max 2. And what a great movie that is! But
great movie.
Another movie with no fat on the bone.
Yeah, just nonstop. And but as far as truly American action movies are concerned, this really set the bar, I think, for 1980s action movies, and the rest sort of, like you said, were a bit more.
It became the symbol of the action hero was Rambo.
Yeah,
I mean, it was it's called a Rambo scene when anyone gears up.
Yeah,
yes.
Now it's the superhero gear up thing, but before that, it was like when Batman first did it. It was like, this is the Batman's Rambo scene where he's putting on a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it set the mold for the action movies.
We wouldn't have had certain episodes of Different Strokes without Rambo.
Well, the last thing he ever does is put on his bandana, isn't it? It became like that. But yeah, I mean, I think really important movie, and it's far superior than the Rambo. I haven't seen the final one yet.
I have not either.
To see that.
No, I had no interest.
No, I mean, I think
the other final one seemed pretty final.
Yeah,
and he was already like 80, so it was like, he's pushing it now.
Yeah, well, it was,
and it had an ending. It had to happen. Like he went back to his homestead of like the Rambo farm or whatever, and it's like, okay, they ended the entire story.
Yeah, Nurse Ratchet, I don't like the peas and carrots. I ain't gonna eat them.
But Stallone is like the Ric Flair of acting and just can't give it up.
Oh my gosh!
It's like, dude, just stop. You've died 3 times. Just stop.
That's true.
He just has to keep going back to that well.
But he's best mates with Schwarzenegger, isn't he? And Schwarzenegger did the same thing with his characters. I've got to admit, I don't think it's going to happen now, but I always wanted to see, the third Conan movie and just wrap the whole thing up.
Yeah.
I always look forward to that, and I don't know what's going on with that now. But similar thing with Schwarzenegger, but he should never have. I mean, I don't think we can be too hard on Stallone because the Terminator movies are an abomination.
Oh my gosh, we could do a whole series on them.
I mean, 1 and 2 okay, but then the rest are trash in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's been a really great movie. I think you can't go wrong with a movie like this for a movie watch. It's been a fantastic movie to choose for this, to watch and comment on. And
it's no stopping. Your mom will shoot, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like a masterpiece, but as far as the genre is concerned, it's excellent. as far as the G.I. Joe action movie genre is concerned, it has some really good themes.
Well, maybe in the next Rambo we'll get a CGI Estelle Getty.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm here to kick butt and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum, Rambo.
And now Sylvester's old. He's starting to look more and more like his mom, isn't he?
Yeah, just a bit.
Knife. For hunting. Come on.
What's this now? Hunting. But yeah, thanks to everybody.
To run a daycare here. Orphan puppies.
Why don't you killing people, Rambo? Come on, Johnny. Get back to killing.
I don't want to kill anymore. I'm raising puppies. I raised pit bull terriers.
Come on, Mom. Love the puppies. Come on.
Put down the guns.
The only impersonation I know would do is
right itself.
Yes, I avoided that one. I think.
Different character.
Which one?
Rocky.
Mm-hmm. Rocky is such a chick flick.
Is it?
Oh,
it's like a modern chick flick.
I've still got my man card. I watched it. It's not like
Rocky
watching Dirty
too.
Dancing.
And then Rocky is another one. Like it has that same progression of like it starts off all grounded and then goes full cartoon.
Yeah, it does.
Just because I think it's like, well, we've done everything we can with this story. Well, let's just make it crazy.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Rocky 3 is okay because it's got Mr. T as Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
Rocky 4 is just that's like
full on cartoon.
Yeah, full on perfection. I love that.
But I love it. It's like my favorite one. I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just so ridiculous, it's good.
Well, it ticks all the boxes, doesn't it? So
yeah, it gave us Dolph Lundgren, the finest actor of our time.
Yeah, I mean, any movie with you're up against the Russians just rings all the right bells, doesn't it?
Yeah, Gorbachev made an appearance in that movie.
It's slightly different for British people. Any movie where the Brits are up against the Germans is a guaranteed hit, as long as we. That's where
in any other movie we just play the Germans.
Yeah, exactly. And we're back to Goldfinger again with that.
Yeah, I mean they're good at it.
Yeah, like come full circle.
For fabulous.
Full finger. We come full Goldfinger. So that probably sounds bad. So thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat. We had the chorus of ladies tonight with us, and which was Sadie Barr, Cosmetti, and also Falling in Destiny. And we also had Tony turn up for a bit there as well. So thank you everybody who turned up in the chat and watched along with us tonight.
And let me say thank you, Tony, and thank you, ladies.
Oh, that was so smooth. And thank you to obviously my co-hosts tonight, my guests. First of all, Ralph, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate being here and having the chance to watch this great movie with you guys.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And finally, Elrodimus Flash, thank you again.
Thank you. And I'm gonna have to cleanse my palate tonight by watching the classic Deadly Prey.
Ooh,
my favorite Rambo ripoff.
There you
Man
go.
Killed with Twig.
I might check that out myself as well.
Oh,
It's
definitely
free on
do.
YouTube, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a wonderful B movie.
It has the greatest kill in history, where he literally kills a man with a twig, impaled all the way through the ribcage with a twig.
It takes it to extreme.
Mike Denton was the best.
Isn't that a trilogy? Deadly Prey, Deadlier Prey, Deadliest Prey? Or is
They
it
did
just
make
Deadly
a Deadlier Prey a couple years ago, and I think you can find that on YouTube as well.
Okay,
They did a Kickstarter.
Yeah, they didn't do the third.
And it's pretty much the same movie. They did the Terminator 2 thing, where it's basically the same thing with a couple little tweaks.
Yeah, I think it's almost shot for shot.
Yeah.
Okay,
But,
sorry, bro. Sorry, Pete.
It's okay. I mean, for what it is. I mean, it didn't have the best time making it, because I know the director was sick at the time, because he died like right after it came out.
Ooh.
So that might have something to do with
That's
it.
not a good sign, really.
Yeah.
Hey, you know it's good because the director died.
Yeah. If someone dies, you know it's a great movie.
Well, I mean, if the actor dies, you make $1 million, but the director dies, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, no, if the editor dies, really
The
nobody.
editor dies, like no one will know.
Hey, man, you hear about this movie where the key grip died?
But when an actor dies, that actor gets awards, like Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. There you go.
Well, I mean,
Brandon Lee.
Dennehy's just passed away, but obviously that happened many years after this movie. So,
Just goes to prove he's a long-term planner.
Yeah.
He is. He's bless him. So that's it for tonight. There's no movie watch next weekend, as far as I'm aware. But in 2 weeks' time, definitely planning another one. And that's yet to be decided. But for everyone who's come along and will watch this recorded later on, and my guests tonight, thank you very much. And on that note, gentlemen, I'll say good night. Good night.
Good night, and thank you, everyone.
Good night.